Frankie Cartoscelli from Sactown Sports. You can check out his work at sactownsports.com. Frankie, thoughts on Fox and Domas both having statement games last night?
Fellas, happy All-Star Thursday.
Yes, happy All-Star Thursday.
Hopefully it is.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. But last night was exactly what you wanted from your stars. You have De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis on a night where the three-pointers just weren't falling. That's kind of been the case for this whole road trip. But when that's not happening, you have guys like Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray with a tough night, Harrison Barnes being quiet as well. That's a great opportunity for Fox and Sabonis to show why they deserve to be All-Stars. And 30 points, 10 assists for Fox, 30-plus points, 10-plus rebounds for Sabonis. We're talking about something that hasn't happened since the 60s. Big O, Oscar Robertson, that era of teammates posting multiple 30-10 double-doubles in multiple games. It just shows how special this duo is and how good they can be for this team, why this team is where it is in the standings, and just to show that they're able to put the team on their back. And we've seen them do it before, but it was kind of a nice stamp of approval for some, maybe coming into the All-Star selection show tonight. But good timing for the guys, and it's nice to win 2 in a row after dropping 2, because the Kings, as we know, they need to kind of keep pace here. In the West, they want to stay in the top 3 or even the top 6, really, if that's the long-term picture, to avoid the play-in. But you want your stars to produce when you need them the most, and that's exactly what happened last night in San Antonio.
We've talked throughout the season, Frankie, about not just winning games and where they are in the standings, but changing the culture and perception of the Sacramento Kings is kind of a mission of Mike Brown's. How big is that for that cause if 2 guys make the All-Star team from this organization?
I think it just kind of helps change the narrative. I mean, the Kings a year ago right now, I think were being ridiculed and made fun of on Saturday Night Live, which was a skit that I think we all kind of thought was just cool to see the Kings being mentioned on Saturday Night Live. Go Sacks! Any national attention was nice. But now the Kings are getting a lot more national attention. They're being talked about on NBA Today. They're getting talked about on TNT. They're getting guys in the national media that are giving them votes for all-star starters like Sabonis. You're seeing NBA writers, their whole panel. I think everyone voted for De'Aaron Fox as a reserve, except for 1, 5 of 6. So it just kind of helps shift that needle towards making the Sacramento Kings, not the butt of a joke anymore. They moved on from that. They're a good team. They're a team that has proven they deserve some respect. And if you have 2 all-stars, one would be great, but if you have 2 all-stars, there's not going to be any teams that have 2 all-stars. That just speaks to how good the Kings have been playing this year, and they deserve it. I mean, first and foremost, Sabonis should be a starter in this game, and I don't think that's biased. That he should be a starter in this game. And De'Aaron Fox, in my opinion, should have been an all-star already, but I don't know what more you want from him. If it's not this year, then when? De'Aaron Fox has proven he is an all-star. He deserves it. If he doesn't get in by some chance tonight, personally, I think that he will. If he doesn't get in tonight, I have to imagine he's first in line on the injury replacement list, because there could be some guys that aren't playing 2 weeks from now, and Fox deserves to be at the top of that list. But having 2 guys being in the All-Star game is a huge step forward, and something that hasn't happened in almost 20 years. We're talking about 2003, 2004. It was Brad Miller and Peja Stojakovic on a Kings team that was pretty good. So just kind of shows that things are changing here in the 9-1-6, and Fox and Sabonis are the main part of that.
Frankie Cartoscelli is with us. Quick update from Jason Anderson of the Sacramento Bee. De'Aaron Fox will not play tomorrow against Indiana for personal reasons. I'm speculating here, but we know that it's almost close to dad time, so I'm wondering if it's a baby situation. Just maybe. Personal reasons, we'll see. But according to Jason Anderson, De'Aaron will not play tomorrow. Frankie, any concern over Kevin Huerter's struggles recently?
No, I mean, he's gone through this before. I mean, we've seen shooters go through slumps, and obviously Malik Monk, he just broke out of his worst stretch of the year. It was a prolonged stretch at that, about a 2-month long stretch. But Kevin Huerter had a rough stretch before, and he's spoken extensively about what he does to work through these sort of things. And to him, he wants to keep shooting basketball. That's how you break through it. And it just kind of shows how deep the offense is. Kevin Huerter doesn't need to force. He can keep shooting, and he'll get looks kind of throughout the flow of the game, obviously. But you have Keegan Murray, who is one of the best three-point shooters in the league. He's on track to break a rookie record for three-point field goals. Harrison Barnes has turned a corner. You have De'Aaron Fox, obviously won't be available tomorrow night, but he's shown that he can shoot the basketball as well this year. It takes a little bit of pressure off Kevin Huerter, whereas in Kings teams past, Buddy Hield was the three-point shooter. And when he wasn't hitting it from the outside, the Kings were hitting it all. Now, right now, it just so happens that nobody is hitting from the outside. But you have to figure that he's a 40% three-point shooter. He's someone who's pushing to be and wants to be in the 3-point shootout in a couple weeks in Salt Lake City, he's going to break through this. That's what he does. This is what NBA players go through, and it isn't the first time he's gone through it this season. It's definitely not the first time he's gone through it over his career. But when you have people like De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis setting the Kings up for looks, it's going to be easy to break out of this slump.
You said similar things about Malik Monk when we asked you about his struggles 2 or 3 weeks ago, Frankie, and you started to waver on that. I think a lot of people did last week when we asked you about Monk again. 3 straight games now where he's started to at least look more like the version of himself that we saw to start the season. Is this for real? Do you think he's shot himself out of it, as you said he probably would?
Yeah, I think it's for real. I mean, even when he was going through the rough shooting stretch, the assists were still there. He is not one-dimensional. I think that's something that I said last week, and I'll continue to say it. That's what I like about Malik Monk's game so much, is that he's not one-dimensional. He's not just a 3-point shot or nothing. He's someone that we saw last night. He almost had one of the best Kings dunks in history if that would have gone down. It was a very violent attempt, but my goodness, that would have gone down. That's just showing how confident he feels right now with the basketball in his hands. He's so good in and around the rim. He's very athletic. He's someone who I think has the ability to be in a dunk contest. He has the most balance on the Kings, and the 3-point shot has come around. And again, it's something that a lot of players have said, and Malik said it as well. That's kind of all these guys really can't say when they're struggling, is you have to shoot out of it. And that's what he said a couple weeks ago in the locker room, or a week or so before the road trip, was they'll fall. He was completely confident. He just looked at the media and said, oh, they're going to fall. Shots are going to fall. And now they're falling. And that comes from getting set up from teammates, of course, but obviously Malik Monk does a good job of that himself. I mean, last night, 5 assists again. This is the most games in his career. He's had 5 or more assists this season. It just shows how lethal Mike Brown's offense is and the system that he's put forward with these players. And Malik Monk's been the big beneficiary of that.
Last one for you, Frankie, this week. Next week when we talk to you, it'll most likely be on Friday, which means the trade deadline would have passed already. Does this team add at the deadline?
I've kind of come off of, I thought for sure they were going to make an under-the-radar move, but the more time that goes by and the more things that are kind of coming out about teams, we don't know which teams are for sure going to be selling. Even I think Bob Myers from the Warriors, he doesn't know how good their team is or other teams are. A lot of teams are trying to figure out how good they are still. I think the Kings like the group that they have. And I think if they do make a move, it won't be because of Monty McNair pressing. I think that if they do make any sort of trade, it might be an under-the-radar, bring in an impact defender off the bench. But I wouldn't imagine any of the top 6, top 7 in the rotation are going to be touched. I think that it'd be, in my opinion, it'd be a bad move to break up a starting lineup and Davion Mitchell, Trey Lyles, Malik Monk, that group off the bench. The Kings are 8 deep right now of players that I think that Monty McNair and Mike Brown really like, and the chemistry is at an all-time high. It could be an under-the-radar move, but also keep an eye on the buyout market. There could be some players that don't get moved, and maybe some deals don't come together, but there could be some buyout stuff going on, and the Kings are the top 3 seed in the West. Maybe they'll be a destination for the first time in who knows how long. I can't remember the last time I looked at the Sacramento Kings, thought they'd be a buyout destination, but they need length. They need a center to come off the bench, maybe a power forward or a small forward, and there could be some guys out there for the taking. So keep an eye on that as well in case the Kings don't make any moves next week. But no matter what, it's always an interesting time. Things pop up that you never knew would pop up last year. Right now, a Tyrese Halliburton trade seemed completely out of the question, and we all know what happened with that. So we'll see what happens in the next week, but it should be a fun time as always.
I'm going to put you on the spot right now. You in studio with us on Thursday after the trade deadline for an hour. You in?
Oh.
Next Thursday? Yeah, absolutely.
You heard it. He just said it publicly.
All let's do is ask, guys. I'd love to come in and talk with you guys.
Yes, do is ask.
I don't play favorites. I don't play favorites.
Jury's still out on that one, Frankie. Thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you next week in studio. Thank you.
All right. I'll see you then, guys.
There goes Frankie Cartoscelli on the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda
Smart
shop.
way to do it. Ask him on the air.
That's it.
Yeah.
You got to get him publicly nailed down.
He's not going to look bad.
Because he says, oh, yeah, just ask. But
Yeah.
we've asked before, and he's been like, I can't make it today, guys. Like, I'm busy. Frankie Cartoscelli's busy.
I'm driving.
Yeah. What's he doing?
He did say he wanted to come through.
Frankie can't be busy? Why can't Frankie
He's gonna
be
come
busy?
through. He's going to come through next Thursday.
Can't make it, guys. I got a big lunch that day.
No, not my boy. Not my boy.
Got to go get a sandwich.
Hey, man, what kind of sandwich are we talking about here? 'Cause get enough sandwich, and I don't blame Frankie, all right?
All right, we'll have Jordy Fernandez